Titanfall, a name that once stood for innovation, fast-paced combat, and the thrilling experience of jumping into giant mechs to battle it out in futuristic arenas. The series introduced a combination of fluid wall running, parkour, and these massive mechs, setting it apart from nearly every first-person shooter on the market at the time. It seemed like Titanfall was on the brink of greatness, offering something new that fans could really rally behind. So how did it fall apart? The story of Titanfalls Decline begins with the game that could have been a legend, Titanfall II. Released back in 2016, this game was everything its predecessor wanted to be, and more. It improved upon the mechanics, brought a captivating single-player campaign, and maintained the pulse-pounding multiplayer. It also had one of the most memorable and well-executed robotic companions in gaming, with BT, a Titan who wasn't just a machine, but a character with a real heart. Titanfall 2 was a true evolution of its ideas, but despite its brilliance, it's kind of struggled to find its audience. Titanfall's bright beginning introduced the world to a futuristic combat experience that merged the scale of the giant mechs with the fast movement of raw running parkour. It wasn't a perfect game, but it brought something new. What set it apart from other shooters at the time? Its seamless blend of on-foot combat with the ability to jump into a Titan, a massive war machine that allowed players to dominate the battlefield. But it wasn't just mechs that made Titanfall stand out, it was the movement. Like I said, the wall running and the fluid parkour allowed players to move in ways that felt more dynamic and alive than any other shooter at the time. Titanfall introduced a level of verticality to combat that made every battle feel fresh and exciting. Players could launch themselves across walls, run through environments in a way that felt unnatural, but in the best way possible. Titanfall had a small but passionate fan base that embraced the game for its innovations. The problem was that it was released at a bad time. It came out in 2014, just between Call of Duty Advanced Warfare and Battlefield 4, two behemoths of the shooter world. Despite rave reviews, Titanfall 1 couldn't stand up to the marketing and the hype behind its larger competitors. Its player base was relatively small, and the lack of a campaign left some people feeling like it lacked substance. Then came Titanfall 2. It was everything Titanfall 1 was, but just so much better. The multiplayer was redefined. The combat was somehow a bit more better. The single player campaign was a revelation. The campaign for Titanfall 2 wasn't just a tacked on mode. It was a fully realized experience that gave players a deeper look into the world of Titanfall. The relationship between the pilot, Jack Cooper, and his Titan BT was one of the most memorable parts of that campaign. BT wasn't just a machine, he was a character in his own right, a mechanical companion who cared about his pilot. The emotional connection between the two was done really fucking well, and it set Titanfall 2 apart from any other shooter at that time. But despite its success on the gameplay front, Titanfall 2 suffered from a fate that had nothing to do with its quality. It was its release date. Again, EA chose to launch Titanfall 2 in an incredibly competitive window, smack in between Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and Battlefield 1, the same two shits that made Titanfall 1 kinda drop. These two giants had huge followings, massive marketing budgets, and established brands. Titanfall 2 got buried again. Despite getting excellent reviews and an incredibly devoted fan base, it couldn't build the momentum it needed to survive. EA had failed to realize that Titanfall 2 needed more than just a quality product to succeed. It needed the right timing and marketing push, neither of which it received. Sales were disappointing, and as the game's player base dwindled, EA quickly lost interest in supporting the series. But this is where the real problem began. 3 years later, EA saw how rapidly Battle Royale games were taking over the gaming landscape, which made the decision to shift Respawn's focus to Apex Legends. In 2019, Respawn launched Apex Legends, a free-to-play battle royale game that capitalized on the success of Fortnite and PUBG and probably others, but I'm not sure. Apex Legends was an unexpected hit. It was a fast, fun, and had a unique character-based system that gave it a distinct identity in a genre that was flooded with copycats. Apex Legends quickly amassed millions of players and its future seemed set, but Apex Legends wasn't Titanfall. While it had the same universe and the same aesthetics as Titanfall, it didn't share the core gameplay mechanics that much. Titanfall was all about the giant mechs and thrilling vertical movement, while Apex was built around smaller scale focus, like character focused combat. Titans were nowhere to be seen, which is kind of obvious because, you know, it's a battle royale, but the massive battles that defined Titanfall's appeal were replaced by a more typical battle royale structure, which is kind of obvious because, once again, it's a battle royale. The connection to Titanfall was there, but it was barely scratching the surface. EA and Respawn were able to capitalize on the battle royale craze, but the Titanfall franchise just got left behind for Apex Legends, which became the centerpiece of Respawn's attention, and all their resources went into supporting it. The marketing, the updates, the expansions, just everything went into Apex. There was a point in time where all you heard was just Apex, Fortnite, Apex, Fortnite, Apex, Fortnite. Like, holy shit, they were all centered around Apex, while Titanfall just faded away. The decision to push Apex Legends over Titanfall was an understandable business move, but it ultimately led to Titanfall's demise. In focusing solely on Apex Legends, EA and Respawn ignored the massive opportunity right in front of them with Titanfall. The Titanfall universe had an untapped potential. A Titanfall 3 could have been the evolution of the series, integrating the best elements from both Titanfall and Apex Legends, a game that blended the epic scale of Titan warfare with the character-driven elements of Apex. That could have been redefined of what shooters could be, but instead the franchise was left to wither forever. Fans of Titanfall were frustrated. They loved this series and they were very vocal about wanting more, but EA had made its decision. They shifted their focus to Apex Legends and Titanfall was just left to fade into obscurity. The servers for Titanfall 2 began to decline and decline and decline, and they're still declining to this day. Sure, there might still be a lot, but it's still dropping. The game's player base is fading. With no new updates, no new content, no nothing. Titanfall became a series that felt abandoned by its creators. It was a missed opportunity. A series that had the potential to become a staple in the gaming industry, but it was shelved in favor of the next big trend. EA had a chance to have something special, but they chose to follow the money instead of staying true to what made Titanfall so great. What happened next wasn't just a slow decline, it was the death of a beloved franchise. Titanfalls were just so fucking disappointed, but they didn't just give up. They kept pushing for more content, hoping for some kind of reveal, but the lack of official support from EA and Respawn left many feeling betrayed and losing hope. Meanwhile, Apex Legends thrived, receiving regular updates and expansions, but even as Apex grew, Titanfall was nowhere to be found. The community was just left wondering, could Titanfall ever make a comeback? Could there ever be a Titanfall 3? Will we ever just get something? The answer for now seems to be no. EA has continued to double down on Apex Legends, and the chances of seeing a new Titanfall game seem increasingly slim. What could have been a landmark series is now nothing more than a forgotten relic, and that's a real tragedy. As time passes, Titanfall remains a series defined by its potential, a franchise that had the power to reshape the gaming landscape but was ultimately sidelined in favor of, well, big trends. Its legacy, however, is still very much alive within the gaming community. Those who played Titanfall 1 and 2 remember the groundbreaking mechanics, the fast-paced action, and the sheer fun of running on walls while gunning down enemies. Grappling hooking, I remember fucking using the grappling hook in Titanfall 2 so much. Like, I would just there's a burning memory of me playing Titanfall 2. Was just me waiting until somebody get a mech, grappling hook onto their mech, and just instantly fucking destroy their shits with a grenade. It was fun as fuck. Anyways, Titanfall gave players something that many shooters kind of still lack: the freedom of movement, the excitement of jumping into a Titan, and the satisfaction of mastering a unique and interactive combat system. Well, not really, but the shit we got now is kind of overwhelming. I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, we got BO6 with this Omni movement and shit, and bro, that shit's fucking already motherfuckers tryharding when I'm just trying to, you know, grind fucking camos. Like, let me chill, bro, please. But as the years go on and the landscape of gaming shifts, it's kind of hard not to wonder what Titanfall could have been if it got in the support it truly deserved. Could the series have evolved in ways Apex couldn't? Could it have introduced more mechanics, more storylines, and more innovations that would have influenced shooters for generations to come? Well, the truth is, we'll never know. What we have instead is the remains of a franchise that was buried underneath corporate decisions and a market shift. Titanfall's legacy will forever be tied to the what ifs. What if EA had supported it? What if Titanfall 2 had been given the chance to shine? And what if Titanfall 3 had followed through on the promise that the series showed in its early days? In the end, Titanfall wasn't just a casualty of poor timing or bad marketing. It was a casualty of a gaming industry that often prioritized short-term trends over long-term innovation. What we lost with Titanfall wasn't just a game, it was the potential of a new era in first-person shooters. And that perhaps is the greatest tragedy of all. When we look back at Titanfall, we see a game that was ahead of its time. It pushed the boundaries of what shooters could be and offered players something entirely new. But in the end, EA's decision was to focus on Apex Legends instead of a game that probably could have changed everything, which left fans with nothing but the echoes of what it could have been. But hey, Apex Legends flopping right now. I can't even fucking lie. Apex Legends been flopping for a fat minute. No hate to any Apex players, but I'm sorry, you gotta stop being delusional, man. I'm sorry, man. That game's flopping. It's flopping hard. Like, at this point, there's nothing that can really save it. But yeah, hey, that's just me. That's just my opinion. That's just everything. Anyways, thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think. And I'll see you guys later. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm not good with outros. I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm not good with outros.